What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Cardano today, ADA. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into the charts, my friends. Okay, so here we are. The purpose of this video is to discuss what I expect the price action to look like, not just today, inauguration day, the 20th of January here, but what I expect the rest of this week to look like by the end of this move, which I expect to be sometime in February to look like as well. If that all sounds good, hit the like button. Let's get going. Let me clear my throat real quick. Hold on. All right, here we go. So we're sitting at about $1 right now. Nice psychological area to find support on. I think that we will, and I think that you are finding support right now. You got a low here, a higher low here, higher low here, higher low there, higher low there. Looks like a nice line if you connect the dots. Coming up, I would suspect that not only do you have a higher low here, but you're on your way to find a higher high. Today could be a crazy day for Cardano and the crypto space as a whole, right? You could see, when I say crazy, man, I mean like we could bullishly engulf yesterday. Today, you're at $1.0075. By the end of today, you could be back above $1.11. You could even be above $1.20 by the end of today, or at new all-time highs. It's anything and everything is possible. It's going to be some crazy stuff. I definitely don't know what to expect with the inauguration, but I am expecting that it's not going to be boring. I expect that one thing or another, one way or another, we're going to dump or we're going to pump. It's going to be a Trump pump or a Trump dump. It would be the most crazy thing to me if it wasn't either of those things, and if we just moved sideways. So. And with that being said, maybe that's exactly what we do because that's the least expected kind of outcome. But I suspect that we do pump up. I suspect that this is a platform to not just get a higher high on, but to see new all-time highs. So with that in mind, if we take a high to a low here, we can kind of project out with our fib extensions. You're at about $1.01 now. The minimum expectation would be something around $1.54 to $1.86 based off of this given fib. Now, this fib is a pretty small range. Generally, with smaller ranges, you do actually interact with the secondary target zone, which is not the 1618 to the 1272, but instead the 1886 to the 2618, which would be anywhere from 216 to 325. So your primary target zone is 154 to 186. Your secondary target zone is 216 to 325. Let's see what makes the most sense out of those days there, okay, or out of those price actions there. So we take another fib here from a high to a low, high to low here, and you've got your 1618 golden ratio, which, by the way, if we take away these fibs, if I delete that real quick, your golden ratio would be your next technical target. You found resistance at the 1414, building up to your 1618 at the golden ratio, which is at about $1.60. That would be a very fine next target to have. And it does line up with the minimum target of your small fib here. I just personally don't think that you stop there because I can't see you hitting your minimum target with how bullish of a formation you have here. I can't see you hitting your minimum target and stopping there. And then also I can't see you just stopping at this 1618 at about $1.58, man. I think that you would move up higher, something around $2.10 at a minimum. Like the true given minimum that I would say, just from what I'm seeing here, should be considered as $2.10. So ADA Cardano being at $1.01 now, $2.10, $2.17 should really be your minimum target. And then above that, we've got about a $3.20, $3.25 price, something in there. I like that for the end of this move, right? And I think I'm actually remembering now correctly, from the previous analyses that I've done, I think Cardano is actually going to move up right to this all-time high, if not above it, by the end of this move. And that's why it's good to not talk about certain cryptos. I know I don't talk about Cardano every single day, but at least every other day, if not every 3 days, right? I try to talk about it regularly, and sometimes I forget my analysis. But even though I forget it, we can just do this analysis with the same data points and come up with a very similar, if not the exact same conclusion. I mean, the 1886 to the 2618, 325 to $2.16. It sounds about right to me. I like that the 2618 and the 2272 of both these fibs line up very well with your all-time high. It makes all the sense to me that you would go there. If we also take the measure move of this bull flag, which would be from a low here to a high there, I suppose, your measure move would take you all the way up to literally that exact same area. So much pointing to that zone. It's really hard for me to see anything less than that. In fact, I genuinely mean that. It's hard to see anything less than that. I would expect that if you were anywhere else, it would be something above. The true highest expectation, I suppose, that I would have for Cardano is a $4.64 price. $4.64. That's your 2618. that'd be the highest that I could see you going. And you very likely probably don't hit that price, but I wonder if we take a high to a low from your last cycle's high to your bear cycle low here. Does it line up with anything? No, it does not. So yeah, likely you probably don't go there, right? Your next target after that would be about 622. And I think Cardano goes to 622. I think it even goes above 10 bucks by the end of the cycle, but probably not by the end of February / beginning of March, which is when I expect this to happen. By the way, you guys, I made a video earlier today talking about, let's see here, where are you at? This could be huge for crypto. Talking about the Bitwise ETF that's going to get approved or pushed back by the 3rd of March. Cardano is a part of this ETF. Where is it? Yeah, Cardano right here. Which it's a 10. It holds 10 of the largest cryptocurrencies. Cardano's in that list. I suspect that around that date, March 3rd, which is whenever that final date is supposed to be. And again, if you want to watch that video, you can watch that video. I'll leave a link for it in this video, actually, if you guys want to. You might have already seen it, but it might pertain to Cardano, especially with this time frame that we're looking for, right? Because that Bitwise ETF, it doesn't expire. I shouldn't say that. The decision, the deadline for it getting approved or denied or pushed back is on the 3rd of March. The SEC, they rarely make a decision on the deadline day. Oftentimes they make decisions a week before, 2 weeks before, something like that, maybe even more time ahead of time, right? So they'll probably make their announcement at the end of February would be my assumption, which lines up with the time frame that I'm expecting the end of this move to be, right? This is all I've been calling for, the end of this move to happen by the end of February, basically since January began, right? That's kind of what I've been expecting. And then we consolidate, going into March, and we maybe find our low in March and then start heading up and then pumping into April. That's kind of my expectation. But seeing this Bitwise ETF, and it might not seem like a big deal, but I assume that the media will talk more and more about it as it gets to a closer and closer date. Being that Cardano is directly affected by this ETF being approved or being pushed back, I could see running up into the ETF deadline decision being bullish, being hopeful, and then once the deadline is pushed back, maybe not being completely bearish, but consolidating yourself, figuring things out from there. That could make a lot of sense to me. So I think being at $1 now, all that to say, again, if you're not aware of this, I think it's something you should be aware of if you hold Cardano, because it's a big deal. I think that's your first ETF, man. Like technically, it's your first ETF. That legitimizes Cardano in the institutional financial world, man. It really does. It just brings it to a whole nother level of legitimacy, which can only allow the capabilities of this thing to grow. Its capabilities, its possibilities of a high in its market cap are only going to be heightened by this kind of event taking place, right? So it's only going to be a good thing. But again, I don't expect you to get approved. I don't know if it gets approved necessarily in February or by the beginning of March. I would think that it might get approved sometime at a later date this year, which that bullish kind of hope that it gets approved in March could lead to us pumping. Again, I also think that the whole crypto market's going to pump, so just with that in culmination, and then with that kind of very big ETF, that news, I think something around that could be a catalyst for maybe more upside or more likely some kind of consolidation or a pullback moment right there, right? If it gets approved, that would be nuts. If we get approved, guys, that would mean that we're going to keep moving. Like if ADA gets this ETF approved, I have a hard time believing that you would stop here. You would be moving up to $6 by the end of February or by the end of March, man. It'd be March would no longer be a corrective month. It would be some kind of crazy bullish month, but I don't know. You never know. Anyways, I feel like I'm just rambling at this point, droning on. I've said everything I need to say. Your daily RSI looks immaculate. It looks very bullish. This is a very ideal place to buy here at about $1, right? You could go a little lower, but if you were to go lower, like you're not going to drop below 95 cents, man. It's at a good price now, I think. Daily time frame looks good. 3-day time frame looks good. Weekly time frame is killa, looking really good. I got nothing else for you guys, man. That's probably it. So if you like the video, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye.